In West Texas, where oil rigs and cotton fields frame the landscape, there's excitement brewing in Lubbock. Students and alumni are embracing the fast-paced offense of Cliff Kingsbury's Red Raiders. Today, a big SEC test comes from Brett Bielema's Arkansas Razorbacks. A key early matchup is next.
Did you guess it?
Welcome to ESPN on ABC's College Football. Today, a pair of former Southwest Conference foes face off for the first time in more than 2 decades. Good afternoon, everybody. Mike Patrick at Cunningham. It's great to have you with us. Janine Edwards will join us shortly. These are two old rivals that have evolved into polar opposites. Arkansas is a classic old-time offense. Big, beefy offensive linemen, in-your-face, smash-mouth football.
And a couple years ago when Brett Bielema took the job here, he left Wisconsin, and a lot of us, including myself, around college football, wondered what Bielema was thinking. But talking to him this week, he was looking for a new professional challenge. Well, you got it. You're in the SEC. But if you followed Bielema in his career, it has always been about the offensive line. And if you go back to his time at Wisconsin, in the last 3 seasons, they had 8 offensive linemen drafted into the NFL. Just a staggering number. Now, this line is not quite there physically for what they had at Wisconsin, but they're getting very close, and that is bad news for Texas Tech, who defensively haven't really slowed down the run much at all this year.
Well, Texas Tech on offense represents the evolution in college football. 4 wide receivers, spread the field, throw it around as fast as you can, basketball on grass.
And it really all started with Cliff Kingsbury. When he was here under Mike Leach, he was the first quarterback in that air raid system back in the early 2000s. And he has a pretty good quarterback coming in, sophomore Davis Webb. Webb, at the end of last year, there was a couple of quarterbacks going back and forth trying to win the starting job. Webb took it into the Holiday Bowls, threw 4 touchdowns, but Webb has been off in his game early this year. The ball's just off by a foot or two. Kingsbury's been telling Webb, just get your confidence like you have on the practice field. They have the talent here to score some points. If Webb can get on point today against a decent secondary from Arkansas, could put up some big numbers.
Janine Edwards will work the sidelines for us. Moments ago, she caught up with Texas Tech head coach Cliff Kingsbury.
Mike, the electricity in here is palpable. Coach, I know you'd like to bring some of that electricity out on the field. What have you said to your offense and your quarterback to help them find rhythm and confidence early?
Yeah, we need to start fast. We know what they're going to do. They're going to come right at us, and we got to do what we do. Start fast and put a lot of points up.
What have you done this week, personnel-wise and scheme-wise, to take away what Arkansas does best? You know what that is, run the ball.
Yeah, we just put our best plan in place we could and let our guys know what's coming.
What have you told your quarterback to think about most this week?
Just have fun. Enjoy the moment. He's put in the work. It's time to just go out and play.
Okay, go take your guys to the field, Coach. Thanks.
Former Southwest Conference rivals now separated by different conferences, and Arkansas leads the overall series. They won 28 of the 35 games they first met in 1957. Texas Tech has won the toss, and they have elected to receive. And this is a sellout crowd of more than 60,000. When Cliff Kingsbury came back and took the head coaching job, season ticket sales just exploded.
The end of the Mike Leach era, obviously not ending on a note that any of the fans wanted to see. And, of course, Tommy Tuberville came in for a couple of seasons. He decided to leave and go to Cincinnati. And when Cliff Kingsbury was hired, this community embraced him, obviously the first quarterback of the Leach era back at the turn of the century. And to have a young man like this back, and when you spend time with him, very intense, very, very good offensive line, still works as the quarterback's coach, you can sense that this program is starting to head in the right direction.
Sam Irwin Hill has it teed up at the 35. He will kick off. And deep, a couple of burners, Jakeem Grant and Justin Stockton. That's Stockton. 1 return for 15 yards. Jakeem Grant averaging 29 on 3 returns so far. Texas Tech struggled against Central Arkansas, struggled against UTEP, but they came out with a win in each game, and they are 2-0 coming in. Low line drive kick taken a yard deep, and Jakeem Grant will bring it out. Swallowed up at the 17-yard line. Davis Webb is the key to the Texas Tech offense so far. Pretty good numbers. He completes 2/3 of his throws. He's 6th in the country in passing yards and leads the Big 12 in passing and total offense.
And he's been just off by a foot or two when I was studying the film yesterday. Just missing a bit to the inside. Some of his receivers need to give him a little help, but where they are most, where Texas Tech is most green, is on their outside receivers, the two inside receivers. You already mentioned Jakeem Grant, but also Bradley Marquez. Those are the experienced guys, so look for some short throws early to get Davis Webb moving.
And they go with the fly sweep to Jakeem Grant. He takes it up to the 25-yard line at 5'6", 169 pounds.
Take a look at the impact players with Texas Tech as they are going super fast. Jakeem Grant, we've already seen they're going to get him the ball a bunch of ways. And Trey Flowers, a guy who may have been as high as a second-round draft pick, came back for the season. Big defensive end.
First pass is over the middle, intended for Grant, incomplete. Good coverage by Tevin Mitchell.
And Tevin Mitchell, a good surprise for Arkansas fans to see him back on the field. He's been battling a hamstring injury. They were talking about having to maybe redshirt Mitchell. He was their best cornerback last year, so this is a great addition for Arkansas if Mitchell's healthy enough to play today.
I said first pass. Obviously, the fly sweep was a shovel pass. And there's Tevin Mitchell with his second terrific play.
You know what we used to call this in the NFL? A guy who didn't play the first two games? We call those fresh legs. Tevin looks on spot today. A guy who was not able to play. They were talking about redshirting, and that is two just perfect coverages. Good throws by Webb. Ball was on time, but Mitchell showing those fresh legs with two pass breakups early on.
Taylor Semank comes on to punt. DJ Dean, who is averaging a remarkable 17.5 yards a return, is back. High, short kick. Gets a bounce and hits an Arkansas player, and Texas Tech has it. The ball banged into Jared Collins. He never saw it.
Every single punt return team has some word that means find the ball and get away from the ball. And you could see that right then Jared Collins was not looking for the ball. He was trying to get out of the way, but when it's kicked short, the return man has to be yelling. But for a lot of teams, for whatever reason, the word is Peter. They just yell Peter to get away from the ball. But whatever that call was, Collins didn't hear it.
Sam Aguavin made the recovery and a huge break for Texas Tech at the end of the first series. You want to set up the screen pass. Complete to Justin Stockton.
And here goes Texas Tech actually bringing in an offensive substitute, so slowing down just a touch for Arkansas. You have to be on your heels on the road. You get the ball back, but oops, you don't.
DeAndre Washington will leave the field, and Stockton stays in as a tailback. They love to throw to those inside receivers. They've already tried to hit Grant twice, and Stockton, who had a huge game against UTEP, 8 carries for 135 yards, gets a try there. Martell Spate, who leads the team in tackles, made the stop.
Stockton, a big recruit, decided to come to Tech, had over 6,000 yards in his high school career.
Stockton again, little swing.
Ball getting out very quickly in this fast pass attack. The offensive line right now just cutting down the defensive lineman, and Stockton, a guy who Cliff Kingsbury said we knew right when he got here. He had a little different gear, a little different shake than anyone we had. They do have some depth at that position, though. DeAndre Washington already with a 100-yard game this year.
He's back in. And they'll go with a quick shovel to Reginald Davis, and Reginald Davis will take it in. So they take advantage of the break on the punt that hit an Arkansas player.
Lead block here by DeAndre Washington on the flip sweep. And also excellent blocking by Jordan Davis, the receiver downfield. This team will run the ball more than you think, even though that ends up as a pass because of the forward pitch. But this team runs the ball way more than you think they will, and right now running it efficiently.
Ryan Buston will come on for the point after. And the home folks something to cheer about early. Texas Tech has lost the turnover battle in 10 straight games. They're ahead in it now, 1-0, and it set up the touchdown that put them on top, 7-0. Welcome back to Lubbock, Texas, and Texas Tech University. The Red Raiders on top of Arkansas, 7-0, taking advantage of an early turnover. Samank to kick it away for the Red Raiders. Keon Hatcher and Corliss Marshall are deep. Marshall across the 25 and down at the 30, lost his footing, just tripped up. And Arkansas will start from there. Brandon Allen, the Arkansas quarterback, played with a bad shoulder almost all of last year, but healthy now. He has 6 touchdown passes, only 1 pick, and ranks 4th in the country in passing efficiency.
And that shoulder injury just on an innocent fumble recovery where he separated his shoulder, and as the season went on, Allen was barely able to practice. He was the best option at quarterback, but of course Arkansas ran off 10 straight losses for a school record until beating Nicholls State last week. But Allen much stronger, much more velocity on the ball, and obviously being able to practice is a bit of a plus too.
They'll play 3 different tailbacks. Jonathan Williams gets the start and he gets the carry. And Williams drilled as he got to the line of scrimmage.
Take a look at the impact players. Hunter Henry was a true freshman last year who started tearing up the league. He's added 20 pounds of tight end, a big target. Denver Kirkland is that big power for offensive lineman, just like they had at Wisconsin when Brett Bielema was there. And then up front, around the line of scrimmage, Kenny Williams, a former running back, now playing a rover outside linebacker, will be key. And Keelan McElrath, one of 4 junior college transfers in the middle of that defensive line, gets the start at over 300 pounds.
They'll go to the air for the first time, and Keon Hatcher with a catch from Allen. And Texas Tech has added a lot of beef up front this week. They had guys who were 2nd and 3rd on the depth chart, guys who outweighed the starters by about 50 pounds, and they put them on the field trying to counter that massive size advantage that Wisconsin had.
Yeah, Matt Wallerstadt, the defensive coordinator, 2nd year under Cliff Kingsbury. That's what the plan was. Go get some junior college guys in and build some bigger depth and bigger size people in the middle of this defensive line.
3rd and about 3. Allen throws the slant. He's going to have a first down to Demetrius Wilson. And Tevin Madison made the tackle, but not before he had a first down. This is a team that wants to throw when it doesn't have to. They want to set up the quarterback so he's not under a lot of pressure. And Wallerstadt, the defensive coordinator, hopes to change that today.
Been a tough going early in the season for Texas Tech, trying to slow down the run, but as they've gotten some of these transfer guys more into the mix, they're feeling a little better about the point of attack.
Cameron Jefferson is in as an extra tight end in the jumbo package. He just adds blocking ability, and now they're going to go with the flea flicker. Had a man wide open, Keon Hatcher overthrown, and Brandon Allen needed to put some air under that ball because he had him open.
Texas Tech caught completely asleep as the ball is pitched back. And watch Hatcher, the top wide receiver, as the safety number 3, J.J. Gaines, was flat-footed. And you're right, Brandon Allen just throws that ball too flat. If anything, you want to underthrow that ball a little bit because maybe you get Gaines, the trailer, running into the guy and get pass interference. But the only way you guarantee it's incomplete is if you overthrow it.
You work all week to set up plays like that, and then you call them at the right time, and the players don't execute it. It's really frustrating for the coaching staff. Toss back to Alex Collins, who is averaging 8.7 yards a carry so far and almost 100 yards a game. Of course, all these stats for Arkansas may not mean much because they racked them up against Nichols when they won 73-7.
They do go 3 deep, but if you watch them against Auburn, they were starting to get some movement up front. And you've got to think this is a rundown. It looks like everybody on the offensive line pointing for pass protection. Let's see if this is a delayed run or a quick throw.
Jonathan Williams back in on 3rd and 3, and they are going to try to throw for it. And it's incomplete, intended for the tight end, Hunter Henry, but Keenan Ward, the safety, was there to get a hand on it, and this will bring on the punt unit.
Keenan Ward doing his best imitation of Tevin Mitchell, the cornerback from Arkansas, who had 2 breakups right on the hip of Henry. And a nice job there at the very end where the defender, Ward, did not turn the hip of Henry, was able to keep that left hand off.
Sam Irwin-Hill is on to punt. He's an Australian rules football guy. He can kick with either foot. And he floats it for Cameron Batson, and Batson backs up and makes the fair catch at around the 5-yard line. 42-yard kick, and Texas Tech with the early 7-0 lead.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by Cadillac.
The Red Raider mascot is called the Masked Rider. It was originally called the Ghost Rider. It appeared for the first time in 1936, officially became the football team mascot 60 years ago at the Gator Bowl, and today they honored the 55 men and women who have been the Masked Rider. 43 of the 55 able to attend. Pretty tough to beat a mascot on horseback, isn't it?
My question is, how did you know that that was actually the Masked Riders that showed up today?
Because they have no masks on. That's the current Masked Rider. It's going to be a great honor to do that. 2nd and 6 from the 9. DeAndre Washington is the tailback. Instead, they throw underneath to Bradley Marquez, tied for the club lead in catches. Let's go to Janine.
Well, Mike, because of the tempo that the Razorbacks expect from the Raiders in this game, coaches have emphasized something they're calling post-whistle swarm all week in practice. When the whistle blows the play dead, you sprint back to the line of scrimmage. No adjusting chin straps or socks or high-fiving. No mental or physical breaks either. And the Tech coaches told me they are doing double the usual number of plays with no subs just for that reason.
That's what this offense does, Janine. It puts a lot of pressure on a defensive unit. Webb with the little swing gets it out to Grant. And Grant, Brooks Ellis hits him, lost the ball. Arkansas says they have it, and they do. Tywan Johnson, the nose tackle, comes up with the football. Big number 94.
Very similar to the touchdown play.
That's Brooks Ellis, the middle linebacker, reaches in and strips it.
Ellis, a guy who has made great strides, had excellent recognition, got upfield, was all over, but that was the exact play thrown a little differently than the touchdown, so good recognition by your middle linebacker to get out in front of that.
So turnovers have already played a tremendous role in this first quarter.
Ball carried a little loose by the offensive player. That's got to be up closer to the numbers and tighter to the jersey. Should have been knocked out, and that's been one of the problems for Texas Tech, is a turnover battle.
Tight formation. Fake it to Williams. Give it on the end around, and they'll get about 5 yards. Diving forward, Keon Hatcher. That's a nicely designed play off of a formation where they had no wide receivers. They showed a power run, tried to trick them.
Well, Jim Chaney, the offensive coordinator that was brought over after the staff was let go at Tennessee, has a lot of offense. They will really rely on the power run, but they bring all these bodies in, and it looks like it's going to be a run, and they obviously can get it on the edge.
Now Ahrens is in as a blocking back, and they send the big guy, Jonathan Williams, into the end zone for a touchdown. Ahrens led the way, and that is how Brett Bielema runs his offense.
And number 40, Patrick Ahrens, just gets a blow-up block. Good lead block, gets push at the point of attack, continues to drive his feet, but this is exactly what Arkansas wanted to attack, is the perimeter of Texas Tech's defense. The corners are very young, mostly freshmen and sophomores, and this was something that Arkansas wanted to do, was get on the edge and see if Tech could defend it.
John Henson comes on for the point after and knocks it through. So turnovers have set up a touchdown for each ball club, and we're tied at 7. The fumble does it. And power football for Arkansas gets their first score of the day. College football on ABC continues tonight. Butch Jones in Tennessee look for the upset on the road against senior quarterback Trevor Knight and number 4 Oklahoma. Saturday Night Football presented by Wells Fargo, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC. Irwin Hill will kick it off. Grant and Stockton are deep. High short kick. Grant, who would like to make up for that fumble, tripped up as he got to the 24. Excuse me, Justin Stockton. And it has been a game of turnovers so far.
Went Texas Tech's way. You mentioned that Tech has gone 10 straight games losing the turnover battle, meaning they have more turnovers than their opponent. That muffed punt by Arkansas, hit by Jared Collins on the way down, led to the touchdown by Texas Tech. And then a good recognition by the middle linebacker. And 51 Brooks Ellis forces the turnover, and then touchdown for Arkansas, matching scores.
5 wide receiver for Webb, standing flat-footed in the pocket, throws underneath. Ellis is there on the coverage against Jordan Davis.
Mentioning Ellis a moment ago, all the work he did during the offseason. He talked to Brett Bielema and all the coaches, how much better they got talent-wise through recruiting, but also just the dedication of the guys in the weight room and offseason.
2nd and 10, they'll go with Quentin White, who gets his first carry of the afternoon. They've played 3 different tailbacks extensively so far this year, and Brooks Ellis with another tackle. Third down, 8 yards to go for the Red Raiders offense. Webb throws, has it batted down, nearly caught by one of his offensive linemen after Darius Philon, number 91, got a hand on it. Fortenberry almost caught it.
Excellent job by Philon, because there was a blitz coming behind him. All he was doing was mirroring the quarterback, not rushing at all. That's a technique you teach. As you come off the ball, if you're not going to be rushing, stay away from the offensive lineman. You don't want the offensive lineman to engage you, because they can actually hold you down to the ground. Philon doing a nice job playing his technique there.
Semank will punt again. Dean waits inside his own 35. High, short spiral, and fair catch made it to 31-yard line. 42-yard kick, no return. We're still tied at 7.
ESPN is your home of the new college football playoffs.
First year of the college football playoff will be this season. They'll rank the top 25 teams, put the top 4 in semifinals. A lot of different selection criteria, and right now down on the sideline, Jeff Long standing by with our Janine Edwards.
That's right, Mike. He's been in the news a lot lately, and he will continue to be in the coming months. Jeff, you are an athletic director, obviously, for Arkansas, and 5 members of the selection committee are athletic directors. Once the committee starts meeting next month, 2 days a week, how will you guys balance your responsibilities to your schools and your responsibilities to the committee?
Yeah, you know, we've all had a lot of time to plan, so I know all the 5 ADs feel very strongly about their own staffs. And, you know, for Monday and Tuesday during that week, we have our staffs ready to cover for us during that time period. And, you know, if there's a crisis situation, we're available, so it won't be like we're sequestered.
That's good. What are your thoughts as chairman of the committee on one of the members, Pat Hayden, engaging a referee during a game last week?
Well, I think the Pac-12 handled that very well. I think Pat apologized appropriately. And, you know, I think Bill Hancock's statement really set it all for the committee. And I really don't think it affects his ability to judge teams and make tough decisions.
Well, whose job is it, and where do you draw the line with a credibility or perception issue in an incident like that with a committee member?
It's at the forefront of all of our minds. We know this is a particularly special year because it's the first year, and we know there's going to be tremendous amount of scrutiny. So, you know, I think all the members are prepared to handle that. You know, it is emotional with your own teams, and, you know, we have to guard against getting emotional about our own teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the one question that we hear most often, and I'm sure you do too, is what is the criteria that will be used to determine the 4 teams that get in the playoff? Is it entire resume? Is it the best 4 teams at that moment? How will that be determined?
It's all of the above. It's really a team performance throughout the year, looking at them in totality and looking at them throughout a number of different metrics. So, you know what? We'll have so much available to us. We're fortunate. Our first ranking's not till after 8 or 9 games of the season, so we'll have plenty of information.
And I know if you ask 100 people, you get 100 different answers to that question. So I want to wish you good luck. Jeff Long, thanks for joining us. Good luck to the committee. And good luck to the Razorbacks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Janine, thank you so much. And Jeff Long, thank you for taking the time. And anyone that takes on the kind of a job that he did and everyone else on the committee, the only thing they're going to get for their trouble is criticism from fans who are still upset that their team didn't make the top 4 and there was left out. Let me say one word about the Southern Cal situation. I have no doubt that Pat Hayden will be able to make perfectly logical decisions about who should go where.
You know, but you bring up the credibility issue to me. You know, you remember what happened at Arkansas when Bobby Petrino was caught on a motorcycle with someone that he was having an affair with, and they had to fire him. Jeff Long handled that well. But if that had happened this past summer, a lot of college football fans would say, is Jeff Long able to be in that committee and make those decisions? So I do think that these committee members have opened themselves up to a level of criticism that, frankly, I think as it goes on, I think acting athletic directors are going to start backing away from wanting to be on that committee. And there will be 2 days a week starting in October where the committee will go to Dallas and look at film and talk about the playoff. But I think that becomes a distraction for your job during the football season. And I think eventually this is going to be too much to ask, because the difference in basketball and football, basketball, you choose the top 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 are all good enough to be in that top 4. Basketball, you're leaving out number 70, 71, 72. Big difference.
3rd and short for Arkansas. They're starting to hit Texas Tech right in the mouth with a ground game. Can Tech stand up? And it looked like they did. Great defensive charge for the Red Raiders line. But that is a really good mark for Arkansas. I'd want to look at that.
And it is a reviewable. The spot of the ball is reviewable. It's on the 48-yard line. Right on the mark. I'm not sure they'll review it. Yeah, ball gets over, so good call. But a good job by Arkansas while Jeff Long was being interviewed. His team was penalized 10 yards for holding on that first good run. Nice job sticking to it and overcoming a 1st and 20.
Nothing this time as Alex Collins gets the carry. Picks up maybe a half yard.
And no doubt what Arkansas wants to do here. They want to keep Texas Tech on the sideline. Start wearing out this defensive line. Brett Bielema, a former nose guard at Iowa, knows all about getting tired when you've got your hand on the ground. So he wants to do that to the defensive line of Texas Tech. And this is one of those drives that can start wear you out looking into the second half.
And you see Texas Tech trying to rotate those linemen. Collins trying to get to the outside on the toss, and he's got enough for a first down. Let's check into the studio with Chris Cotter.
All right, Mike, Ed, Taco Bell studio update. East Carolina and Virginia Tech. Shane Carden, his fourth touchdown of the day, first on the ground. East Carolina upsets the Hokies in Lane Stadium, guys.
What a huge win for East Carolina. Of course, Ruffin McNeil, who was the defensive coordinator here for a long time at Texas Tech, has things going there. And what a difference for Virginia Tech against Ohio State. It looked like they might be the best defense in the country.
Yeah, they looked unbeatable.
And in that first half, ECU went up and down the field, was up 21-0 in the first quarter, and able to hold on for a very big win. Of course, Michael Brewer, who's a quarterback for Virginia Tech, played some here last year for Texas Tech, decided to transfer because he was a graduate student, able to play right away, and was granted a release.
They will be an inch short of another first down. On this drive, they've gone 40 yards, 7 plays, all of them runs.
And what do you think they'll do on 3rd and an inch?
I think they might run. Although this is the beauty of this offense. They run, they set you up. 9 guys come to the line of scrimmage, and they throw it over the top.
And then just hope your quarterback doesn't overthrow it.
Yep.
He's got it over.
They've already done that once.
And you are in that 4-down area here because you're outside of your field goal range, and if you punt it and you kick it in the end zone, you're only gaining about 20 yards of field position, so you might as well take a shot.
Corliss Marshall is the tailback. He'll get the carry. And Marshall has enough for a first down to the 36-yard line of Texas Tech.
Marshall, a young man who was not able to play last week with an arm injury against Nicholls State. He is their most explosive running back. Everybody coming into the season talking about Jonathan Williams and what a good season he was going to have. But this young man, the most explosive running back, not very highly recruited, but is turning into has some burst.
Marshall again. Hit in the backfield and tripped up. Nice play by Dante Phillips, number 94. Dove at his legs and got enough of him to knock him off balance and hold the gain to a yard.
One of the things that Arkansas does in the middle of their line is they run a lot of trap blocks and wham blocks where they bring people from the outside and literally wham on an unblocked defensive tackle. That time Phillips was unblocked, and the guy who was trapping him missed him, and he gets a nice tackle for loss.
Look at big number 99 in the middle of that defensive line. All 6'2", 367 pounds of it. I think he's 367 if he skipped breakfast. Allen on the run, sprints right up the middle and slides in safely at the 13-yard line. Nice move by Brandon Allen and picks up 21 yards.
Nice job by Corliss Marshall. Excuse me, that's 32. Jonathan Williams going through, and Ahrens, the fullback, picks up the blitz. And that was a nice job at the end there by Tevin Madison. You could see him go down to his knees and hold up. If he would have launched through that, he certainly would have got a personal foul. Nice job by Madison, the true freshman, pulling himself back.
Jonathan Williams back in at tailback on 1st and 10 from just inside the 14-yard line. Williams makes a man miss. Williams, touchdown. And that's a kind of a drive, Ed, that just wears you down, not only physically, but mentally. It's very depressing for a defense just to get hit in the mouth time after time.
And don't forget, they started with a 1st and 20. So this is a drive that should have gone for Tech, and what an excellent move by Williams on that true freshman Madison. And that was I mentioned earlier, the edge of this defense for Texas Tech. It's a big question mark, and that time Madison, the true freshman, not able to come up with the tackle.
Henson for the point after a 68-play drive that featured all runs. Back take it, Texas Tech and Arkansas has taken a 14-7 lead on the strength of its power running game. Grant and Stockton are deep. Akeem Grant on the return. And just taken down at the 25. Trying to use all that speed to get out to the outside. Celebrating its 10th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. Since 2005, Allstate has contributed more than $3.4 million in scholarship funds.
And if this ball doesn't end up in one of those nets after a touchdown drive, or at least a field goal, I'd start getting a little nervous if I were a Red Raider fan putting that offense back out for Arkansas.
Webb with time and throws over the middle to Reginald Davis. Great upside for this kid. Never played wide receiver before. Was a high school quarterback. And if you've got a chance to play in this offense as a wide receiver, you're going to get a lot of publicity and a lot of chances to catch footballs.
Yeah, you can sell this program to wide receivers and quarterbacks. There's no doubt about that.
Webb with time, forced out of the pocket. Throws on the run and picked. Liddell had a chance and lost it as he got to the sideline. They're saying he caught it. The official said no.
Second down. Third down.
Not a catch there by Liddell, but he's a young man that they say has unique qualities. A true freshman, part of a good recruiting effort during the offseason by Arkansas. Starting to get more and more playing time, and that ball by Davis Webb just a little late. And this true freshman able to run underneath it and almost made a snatch.
Second and 10 for Webb. Throws out in the flat. Washington makes a man miss. DeAndre Washington turns it into a first down.
When you put on the tape of Texas Tech, and as they're going fast here, you very soon see that there are guys who can make people miss. DeAndre Washington, we're all talking about Justin Stockton, the true freshman running back with all that burst, but Washington really good in the open field.
He's their best all-around back. Another completion to Reginald Davis.
You're talking about Davis being a former quarterback. He really is starting to get a feel for the passing game, has great body control, and they need him as an outside receiver to come along.
Now they're going just about as fast as they can, and Washington, with defenders ripping at the football, is down to the 33-yard line.
And here comes Arkansas bringing in 4 defensive players. The offense substituted, so now the defense will have time to match up. They're getting all the big bodies off, switching out the entire defensive line. And you have to chase the ball all around the field and wear you out.
Stockton can't get to the outside because Darius Philon came up from his defensive tackle spot and wrapped his arms around him.
Good change of personnel that time by Arkansas. Philon comes in fresh and gets good push at the point of attack.
Timeout end of the first quarter. Arkansas with a 14-7 lead. We'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. It's the courtyard here on campus at Texas Tech, where the Red Raiders are trailing Arkansas 14-7 but driving. Second and long for Webb. 3-man rush. He has time downfield and incomplete. It was off target, intended for DJ Polite Bray.
And Polite Bray is open. This is exactly what Cliff Kingsbury's talking about. Just being off by a foot or two. I think Polite Bray should make that catch, be able to get his hands back, but Webb has just been off by a foot or two at the start of this season, and that throw obviously behind his intended receiver.
Third and long here. Only 2 men on the rush. Underneath, complete pass, and a first touchdown, Bradley Marquez. He should have been stopped short, but Alan Turner couldn't corral him. They moved him from an outside wide receiver spot to a slot, and he's far more dangerous there. You can't jam him.
Excellent finish of the play by Marquez, a young man who spent his first summer on campus. He's a member of the Mets organization in baseball, decided to stick around.
Washington, the tailback. Down near the 10, they have to get to the 8 for a first down.
I know everybody is talking about Justin Stockton, the true freshman. Every time I see Washington run, he makes a crisp move, makes somebody miss, and has really good acceleration. Talk about a nice 1-2 running back combo coming in. Both guys in now.
And they say he's their best all-purpose back. Stockton is in there with him now. And Washington really wants to show what he can do. He's had an injury-prone career that has limited the kind of numbers he puts up. Stockton with Washington in front, and Stockton to the 5.
The one thing that Cliff Kingsbury has been talking about with his offense is, guys, we have people who can make plays. We have guys who can take it the distance. Just settle down, practice, play like you practice. Practices look great. Start to get into a rhythm, but how nice to have those two runners.
And it's not just throwing 80 passes a game. They have guys who can run the football and linemen who can block for the run, and you're seeing it right now. Washington dives forward inside the 3 to maybe the 2. Dietrich Wise Jr. didn't play last week because of a leg injury that he's been nursing, made that tackle. This is an impressive drive for the Red Raiders. Webb on 3rd down. Plenty of time, throws for the end zone. No signal yet. Now there is, and it's a touchdown. Polite Bray. And Arkansas obviously trying to rush just a couple of guys and play coverage. I don't know how that's going to work out.
But they had to leave 3 men behind the defensive line because of the threat of the run, and that a good throw that time by Davis Webb. It's in the end zone, put it down and away. Polite Bray doing a nice job getting his hands underneath of it, but Arkansas was stuck between defending the run and the pass. They had 1 extra defender near the line of scrimmage, and that's why there was a hole behind them.
And the officials waited a long time to make sure that that was a catch. They got it right, and Texas Tech got the score to tie it up. It's 14-14 here in Lubbock. Brett Bielema and Cliff Kingsbury have seen the kind of drives from their ball clubs that they wanted to see. Arkansas, 11 plays, all runs, 68 yards for a touchdown. Texas Tech comes back to answer with a blend of passing and running.
Kingsbury has to be very happy with that drive. You give that ball back to Arkansas, you may be down 21-7, and your defense would maybe be done for the day. I know you're trying to rotate that defensive line, but if they would have had, Tech would have had to go back on defense. That could have gotten under.
Hatcher and Marshall are deep, and Corliss Marshall will bring it out. Burst up the middle, ball came loose. He may have been down, and regardless, Arkansas got it back. Let's check to the studio. Chris Cotter with an update.
Time for Dr. Pepper Conference update. Elsewhere in the Big 12, a little ways down the road in Fort Worth. Trayvon Boykin is going to find Josh Doctson for the score. TCU up 7-0 over the Gophers. They've now made it 10-zip in the first, guys.
Chris, thanks very much. We have 12:59 to go here, first half. And Brandon Allen leads them out. Williams. Power run. Picks up 8-9 yards. Let's check in with Janine.
Well, Mike and Ed, Texas Tech, you know what? Let's wait for the penalty and we'll get back to this. Mike?
Thanks, Janine. We'll check it out.
Matt Wallerstedt.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, defense number 34. The penalty is 15 yards, first down. That's number 34's first unsportsmanlike conduct of the game.
It's on Kenny Williams, the converted running back, and back to Janine.
Well, my Texas Tech defensive coordinator, Matt Wallerstedt, has been trying to solve the puzzle that is Arkansas's running game, and it's not easy. He's gone up and down the bench, talking to every one of his position groups, linemen, linebackers, secondary, trying to shore up porous edges but not take guys away from the middle.
Hasn't worked so far, has it? Williams with another carry into Texas Tech territory.
One thing that Texas Tech has been just awful on is penalty yards. Over 100 yards per game in penalty yardage, and that was Kenny Williams after the play. Just, you don't need to hand it to Arkansas. You can see the hands on the hips already. And there's the first penalty against Texas Tech, but they've already been on their heels on defense. You don't want to let the sloppiness help the other team.
And fundamentals have really hurt. They throw underneath to Drew Morgan, who makes only his second catch of the year. It's enough for a first down for Morgan.
Morgan, excellent second effort here. Oh, the Justin Nelson just dropped his head completely. That is such bad technique on so many levels. You can hurt yourself, you can injure your neck, you can get a concussion, and a lot of times you just miss the tackle.
Snaps a string of 15 straight runs, and now they're back to it with Alex Collins. One of the problems that Texas Tech has defensively is there's another marker down, is they have so many junior college guys on defense, and no matter how good they are, no matter how good the programs are that they came from, it's an adjustment, and when you have a whole bunch of guys making the adjustment, it's tough.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 15.
It's another fundamental mistake. Keenan Ward, the safety. So they've had two 15-yard penalties called against them on this drive alone.
A lot of times when you're rebuilding and you're trying to get some depth, and that's a tough one. It's hard to tell Ward not to reach up there and try to make that tackle, but it did spin the head around.
Collins, the deep man in the eye, and he'll get the carry. Cuts it outside, 10-5, touchdown. You're going to see this all afternoon. They are just starting to swallow up the Texas Tech defensive line, and they're running wherever and whenever they want.
5-6 steps of full speed into the backfield. And Keenan Ward, who got the face mask before, just didn't fill the hole. That's the safety's hole to come and fill. Took a bad angle, was not able to make the tackle, so two bad plays in a row by Ward. But this running game for Arkansas, that's just way too much speed before they have to make their first cut.
And they've already rushed for 132 yards, averaging almost 7 yards a carry, and it gets bigger every series.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com.
That's a museum that honors Lubbock's own Buddy Holly. Died in a plane crash in Iowa in 1959 at the young age of 22. Rolling Stone ranked him 13th on the top 100 greatest artists of all time. Immortalized in Bye Bye American Pie with the line, "The day the music died." That was a reference to Buddy Holly and Richie Valens. Grant and Davis are deep. Jakeem Grant on the return. Lowers his shoulder and powers over the 30-yard line. Tonight, ESPN brings you college football prime time, presented by Hampton Hotels. Cody Kessler leads number 9 USC against Boston College in the cross-country matchup tonight, 8 Eastern on ESPN.
And USC getting into the hurry-up offense game. Steve Sarkisian, who started to develop it at Washington before he left to go back to USC. As an assistant there under Pete Carroll. They ran 103 offensive plays against Fresno State. Of course, during the offseason, Brett Bielema, the head coach of Arkansas, getting into the discussion about trying to slow down the game a bit.
Davis Webb on the delay to Stockton, and I think notice has been served to Texas Tech that when you get the ball, you better score every time, because Wisconsin has that kind of intentions. Or excuse me, I said Wisconsin, I'm looking at Brett Bielema.
It was very shocking when Brett left Wisconsin. I remember I was on the air scratching my head wondering why he did it, but wanted a new challenge.
Everybody thought he'd be a lifer underneath to Reginald Davis. After all, he took him to 3 straight Rose Bowls. They were as good as they were going to be.
And when he took the job, you wondered why was he leaving? There was murmurs about having problems keeping assistant coaches. He more than doubled the amount of money he can spend on assistant coaches. He said 1 year after they won the Big Ten championship, he was going to lose 7 of his 9 coaches in a 48-hour period, and just started to realize it was going to be nearly impossible to sustain the level that they had created. You start losing that many assistants, you can't have consistency year to year, and decided to take his show down to the SEC.
Webb, under pressure, steps up and throws to Lauderdale underneath. Lauderdale across midfield and spun down at the 44-yard line. Devin Lauderdale, the 6-foot sophomore, makes his first catch of the game, and they've got so many weapons.
This is another junior college guy. Lauderdale got here in the spring, so he was able to learn the offense, and they need some help on the outside. We've already seen Bradley Marquez and Jakeem Grant how good they are at slot, so Lauderdale trying to get in the mix outside.
He was a transfer from Navarro Junior College. Now they got 5 wide receivers, 4 to the near side. They throw to the far side and complete it to Dylan Cantrell, his first catch. So everybody's getting into the act. And that was a nicely designed play. You put 4 guys to the wide side of the field, drawing most of the defense over there, and you've got one-on-one with who you want on the right.
And a nice, accurate, on-time throw by Davis Webb.
First down at the Arkansas 40-yard line. Draw play. Now get about 7 is Quentin White, showing you his jitterbugging skills.
I was going to say, we've been talking about Justin Stockton, DeAndre Washington. Quentin White showing some ability to make people look a little silly when he's got the ball in his hands.
Stockton comes back in. White stays on the field. And they're on each shoulder of Davis Webb. Second and about 3. White, they nearly lost the ball on the exchange, and White turns what could have been a disaster into about a 1.5-yard gain. Spate made the tackle.
Well, it started with the snap being a little off and then not a clean handoff. Good handling of the ball. No panic by the running back. And, you're sitting here 3rd and 2 in a game that's going to be about touchdowns going back and forth. I'm not sure this isn't where you take a little bit of a shot and then you come back on 4th and 2 and go for it if you don't get it.
And that handoff, by the way, is the quarterback's responsibility, because the running back is looking at where he's going, not the ball. Throw to the outside for a first down. A great throw to Lauderdale. Davis Webb showing you some arm strength on that out pass.
Catch and throw. Good calm feet by Davis Webb. I've noticed that a bunch. We saw Christian Hackenberg the first 2 games of the season with his nice calm feet.
Washington back in the game. Cuts it outside. Washington out of bounds at the 13-yard line.
This guy's fun to watch run.
Isn't he?
Yeah, he just never gives up. He has good balance. When he gets hit, you see a lot of guys, their shoulders, their upper body will start going down to the ground, which, they might get another yard or 2, but this guy has tremendous balance as he's going through contact.
He checks out. Stockton comes back in on first down. Stockton with a carry. Trying to get outside, nowhere to go, and this time he's spun down by Alan Turner, the safety.
Well, if you're going to have safeties coming up around the line of scrimmage, there's Rob Smith, first-year defensive coordinator, replacing Chris Ash, who left during the offseason to go to Ohio State. But if he's going to have his safeties that close to the line of scrimmage, look for Texas Tech to start trying to get over the top of them.
2nd and 13. Webb in the shotgun, fakes the handoff, then dumps it to Washington. Room to run. Washington inside the 5. Still on his feet down near the 3, being dragged by a teammate into the end zone, but they'll rule him down at the 3-yard line. Josh Williams missed the tackle. He's just tough to bring down, isn't
Washington down there. Otherwise, that would have been a penalty for assisting the runner.
And that's a touchdown for Webb. The 6'5" sophomore decided to do it himself, and Texas Tech within 1 point of tying it up again.
Well, you don't see Webb run it a whole bunch. Decides to keep it in the backside defensive back. Rohan Gaines actually read that very well. But Webb able to sneak to the inside. You'd expect Gaines to be able to make that tackle.
Crossed him up, and the point after by Buston. With the 6:45 to go in the half, we are tied again. Can either defense stop the other guys? Tied at 21. 4 players have run the ball for Texas Tech. 8 have caught passes. And Webb kept off that last touchdown drive with his run after he had 5 out of 5 through the air on the drive. Hatcher and Marshall deep again. 6:45 to go in the half. Deep kick. That one will go out of the end zone. And we'll check in with Chris Cotter. Chris?
Mike, time for Wells Fargo getting it done, and the Red Hawks getting it done in the big house. Is Andrew Hendricks finding DeJuan Scott for the score. Miami of Ohio and Michigan tied at 10 midway through the second.
How about that?
Brady Hoke taking some heat last week, getting blown out by Notre Dame, deciding to leave his starting quarterback in, never getting any of his depth any work. Not looking good for him and his staff if it continues to trend that way.
If you're Arkansas, what do? Just play smash mouth on this drive again? Looks like it. Alex Collins.
We are seeing some really good running backs today.
Yes, sir.
All 3 for Arkansas. There you see Collins with a little stutter step in the burst. Jonathan Williams, who's seen with tough runs. Corliss Marshall might be the quickest of them all. DeAndre Washington on the other side. Freshman Stockton, we've seen some. We were expecting to see a big throw game for Texas Tech, but that both sides becoming about the run game a little bit.
I think the point is if you can run like this, why bother throwing? 7-8 yards a carry. This time enough for a first down up at the 36.
This is I was in the NFL. Freeze it right there. There's your wham block right at the point of attack. That's number 84, Hunter Henry, going in there at 255 pounds against Rico Levy at 367 pounds. So it all becomes more about being explosive. In those wham blocks, you don't have to get a ton of movement, but you definitely have to get that guy stopped right where he is.
Henry, the tight end, was second-team All-SEC last year and also made the All-Freshman team. And the receiver fell down on the outcut. Hatcher was open. Looked like a pretty good throw from Brandon Allen, but he just fell down. Last 4 drives, 2 passes.
You asked what were they going to do on this drive? Becomes pretty obvious.
And some people will ask, why did you throw it twice?
Well, you had it open. The guy slipped.
Williams is the setback. Now a blocking back moves back into the formation. Williams on the draw. Plenty of room up the middle. And Williams moving the pile. Has a first down out to the 46, almost a 47-yard line. That's just power.
Well, we were talking about all the backs we've seen, and I think Williams showing, all right, everyone else has got the shape. Let me show you the power. Good movement there. Good finish, and there's Hunter Henry pulling the pile. As long as you're not pulling your own guy, you can move it forward. Good first down, though, for Arkansas.
Just keeping his legs moving on the play. to the outside. Marshall breaks 2 tackles. There is a flag down. Looked like a face mask. Tevin Madison, the corner, and that would be 3 personal fouls against the Texas Tech defense in the first half. They have been tortured by penalties and mental mistakes.
Face mask. Defense number 20. The penalty is 15 yards. It includes an automatic first down.
I mean, that's 45 yards in hidden yardage.
And Tevin Madison, we've already seen the secondary have a tough time coming up and filling. That time Madison got his feet crossed up. He was completely in position to make the tackle. But just a little move on the outside by Corliss Marshall. Bounce to the inside, then bounce it outside. Madison got his feet tangled up, and all he could do is reach up and grab the face mask. So that's a technique and athletic issue for Texas Tech, but they're going to have to start getting cleaned up.
Well, you're pretty tough if they can't even drag you down by your face mask. Straight up the middle for a couple here. Now for our Aflac trivia question. Name 2 future college coaches that played on the 1964 Arkansas National Championship team.
One of them's easy.
Yep.
Went on to coach the University of Miami, Oklahoma State, went on to the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys. So I'll get one of them, Jimmy Johnson. I don't know the other one. I'll have to maybe cheat, get on Google.
The other one was a great kick return. Just off Demetrius Wilson's fingertips.
Well, this is the second overthrow by Brandon Allen on touchdowns. Against Auburn, they had a drop touchdown pass to Keon Hatcher early in the game, and this is the second one that Allen has just overthrown. A wonderful route. Slowed down a bit, Wilson was, when his feet got tangled up with the defender. But that's just a miss.
Big play here. Haven't had many big third downs, but this is one. 3rd and 9.
Any positive yardage, you're probably going for it on 4th.
A lot of good protection. Allen on the run, throws to the sideline, and a great job by Jonathan Williams to keep his feet right on the edge of the sideline.
And an excellent job by Brandon Allen keeping the ball alive. It looked like forever he was going to run the ball, and the linebacker to that side, Sam Aguavin, started to come up because the linebacker had coverage on Williams. I'll give that to Brandon Allen. That was a really nice job of faking like he was going to run, brought the linebacker off, and got it back to Williams.
They convert on 3rd and 9, spot the ball at the 26, 1st and 10. Williams, and this time hit in the backfield. Brandon Jackson and Rika Levy combined to make the tackle. Jackson up from his defensive end spot. And then he held on and waited for the 367-pound Levy to finish him up.
Levy, another one of those junior college guys that we talked about. 4 of them were brought in to help the defensive line. They weren't sure if Levy was going to be able to go. He hurt his knee in the first game.
34th play that Arkansas has run, the first one they've lost yardage on. Allen fakes to Williams. Has time on a deep post to the end zone and off the hands of Drew Morgan. He made the dive, and he was open.
This is just, again, a slight miss by Brandon Allen. He's had a couple of overthrows, but I'm not so sure that Drew Morgan. It's a tough catch. Not a great throw, but I still think you can make the play on it. But here you are, 3rd and 11, and for Arkansas, this is a team that will try a field goal. They will go. They're not thinking about 7 here, but now for Texas Tech, you can play some coverage. See if your guys can hold up. Don't need to bring pressure here necessarily.
They do bring 5. They don't get there. Out cut and completion to Keon Hatcher. And that may have been Brandon Allen's best throw of this game.
Ball got there on time, accurately, threw it a bit early, and this was just blown coverage on the side by Texas Tech. They had a bunch formation over to that side. And as Hatcher went to make his out cut, there was nobody home.
So they complete and convert passes on 2 big third downs to keep this drive going.
Now for Texas Tech with 3 timeouts, you got to start thinking about saving some time for your offense.
Alex Collins, the tailback on first down. Collins end around, throws it away, and Texas Tech has the football. Justice Nelson with the recovery. What a huge turnover.
This feels like a little bit of overthinking for the offensive staff for Arkansas. They've kind of had their way a bit in the running game. You're knocking on the doorstep. There is just no reason to try a flea flicker here. You can't blame Alex Collins. He's doing what he's coached, but I just don't know why you make that call at this position on the field.
You don't need to fool him when you can run over him. Watch number 31, Justice Nelson, who recovers this toss. What he's doing is fundamentally sound, and you have to applaud that. But if he could have looked over his shoulder and seen how wide open he was, he picks that up on the bounce. It's 75 yards for a touchdown.
But if he tries to pick it up and kicks it 10 yards forward, maybe they don't have the ball.
You're right. Webb throws a very dangerous pass. Jamichael Winston knocked it down. It was intended for Stockton.
And now if you're Arkansas, you've got to start thinking about 2nd and 10 on the next play. If it gets there, you've got 3 timeouts. You're kind of on the edge of whether you want to start using them for your offense. Maybe not quite yet.
This play might dictate whether you do or not. Webb shoots it down the sideline, almost intercepted. It's caught out of bounds. Rohan Gaines made a great read on it.
Webb stayed on the receiver the entire time. His eyes never came off that side of the field. And
oh, what an athletic play by Gaines. Now 3rd and 10. 2-man rush. Webb, that one is picked off. Spate, the linebacker, with the interception on a terrible decision by Webb, and Spate will go in for a touchdown. No, they're going to say he's out of bounds, or are they?
Looks like he stepped out about the 12-yard line, but this one looked again like Webb never came off the middle of the field, and Spate, the linebacker, lined up right to the right side of Webb. Webb's eyes just never came off of that. I mean, he was on that forever. That's 2 plays in a row where Davis Webb just never gave the defensive player who's reading him any other reason to think he was going to throw the ball right there.
And they dropped 9 guys over the middle, and that's where Spate went out of bounds at the 12. But that was actually into triple coverage where he threw that ball. Turnovers have just been huge in this game. Brandon Allen will give to Washington. Washington inside the 5. Dives for the goal line. Touchdown. No double reverse this time. Give it to your 223-pound tailback and get out of the way. And 3 touchdown runs for Jonathan Williams.
And what you have to do if you're Texas Tech is just feel like that's what was going to happen on the drive before.
Sure.
Davis Webb has to get that interception, both of those throws, frankly, the taste out of his mouth, because Arkansas, luckily for Texas Tech, scored pretty quickly. So you get the ball back with 1:30 and all 3 timeouts. It's all day.
Ed, he ran 9 yards before he got touched by the defense. And then when they touched him, it didn't matter. He still powered it in.
You're saying that's not the goal when you're playing defense?
No. Got to get there just a little bit quicker. There's the interception that set it up. Good defense by the linebacker. And then Williams makes him pay. Now the answer for our Athletic trivia question, which was, can you name 2 future college head coaches from the 1964 Arkansas National Championship team? You got one right, Jimmy Johnson.
Well,
who's the other?
You tell me. You know it.
Ken Hatfield. who went on to coach at Air Force, Arkansas, Clemson, and Rice, was a terrific kick returner in college. Jimmy Johnson was an all-conference player, and there was another very famous player on that team, an offensive lineman by the name of Jerry Jones. Yes, that Jerry Jones. Grant and Stockton. This is Stockton on the return. Very difficult to wrap him up, and he crosses the 30. It was their only national championship. Hatfield, who led the nation in punt returns. Jimmy Johnson, all-conference D lineman. And Jerry Jones, an offensive lineman and a co-captain on this ball club. And that was the connection between Jones and his head coach with the Dallas Cowboys when he bought that franchise.
And I had the misfortune of playing against that Dallas Cowboys teams. 93, 94, 95. That was things didn't turn out so well for my Cardinals in those ball games.
First year would have been all right. They were 1-15.
After that, they were.
Yes, after that.
There was not a weakness on that.
No, they were not 1-15 anymore. Throw this underneath to DeAndre Washington.
And now the one thing you have to talk about, if you're the quarterback, you can't let too much time go. You've got 3 timeouts. This is a lot of time to get a playoff. You're not going to quite call it here, but you really can use these timeouts.
And you can't throw it into traffic anymore. Washington will be shy of a first down, and they will use the first of their 3 timeouts.
First timeout this half.
And I don't mind.
This is a 30-second timeout.
I really don't mind the run call there. You've got that timeout. You want to pick up the first down, but now, unfortunately, you burn one. You've got 3rd and 2.
Coming up on the Cooper Tire halftime report, John Saunders, background Danny Cannell. They'll be around to talk to you about an upset in the ACC. Big day for Mariota, and can Tennessee have any hope of stopping that Sooner offense?
Wait, that 7-0 lead didn't hold up for Wyoming in the first quarter against Oregon?
All they did was make them mad. Ooh, I like that.
It's a lot of work.
Yes. I wonder how long that took. Your girlfriend says she's not ready to go to the ball game yet. That's why she's busy. 3rd and 2. 4-man rush this time, and Webb underneath. He'll have just enough for the first down. Jordan Davis, the tight end, made the catch.
There goes the clock. Let's see how long it takes them to get the snap. 52 seconds. Wow. Boy, that's a lot of time.
And if all they had to do was snap the ball to catch Arkansas with an extra man on the field, and they didn't.
And what happened is, because the offense made a switch with their personnel, and Marquez looks like he might be hurt down the field, the umpire stays over the ball, allowing, I think the umpire gave Arkansas far too long to make that switch defensively. That cost Texas Tech a ton of time. The rule is, if the offense is making a substitution, the defense has a chance to substitute and match up. It looked to me like Arkansas was given too much time there by the umpire. And this is a guy that Texas Tech cannot lose.
Absolutely.
Bradley Marquez
gives 100% every play. They just love his effort. They love his skill set.
But you look how much time that took for that one play. That ball was spotted for play at 52 seconds. Now we're at 35. I'll give a couple of seconds there to the umpire for holding that play for, I think, a few too many seconds, but still inefficient.
Webb with time over the middle, and it's almost intercepted again. Brooks Ellis. They keep throwing it in the middle, and they keep throwing it into the teeth of that pass defense.
And you can hear the Texas Tech fans starting to get a little grumbly with these throws. That's 3 throws by Webb in the last 2 series where he stayed right on who he was going to and made an interceptable throw.
You just can't throw it there. It's that simple. Your guys don't even get their hands on it. Webb again, plenty of time. This time he'll throw complete. Although the Arkansas sideline saying it is incomplete. And Marquez thought he made the catch.
That is not a catch, and I'll be surprised if we don't get a review.
Incomplete pass. Previous play is under further review.
So they'll take a look at it, but from that angle, it appeared to hit the ground.
And now for Arkansas. Clearly, ball hits the turf. For Arkansas, who has not used any timeouts on defense, which I think has been the right decision. I'm not sure you want to use timeouts when Texas Tech is on offense and give them more time. It looked like Tech was going to kind of play themselves out of this drive.
After further review, the ruling on the field was confirmed. Incomplete pass.
And Ed, it appears that Webb has to do a much better job of not staring down his receivers, and because the defense reads his eyes and it leads them right to the football.
And that's what Rob Smith, the defense coordinator from Arkansas, was talking about. They would play some just spot zone, meaning drop and look at the quarterback. And so far that's paid off. But now Arkansas getting the ball back, 23 seconds. It'll be less after the punt with 3 timeouts, but I wouldn't be surprised if they just take some knees, take to the house.
Webb's only 2 out of 8 after a hot start. And this ball will be down at the 1-yard line with 13 seconds to go with the roll, a 55-yard kick. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary so far here in Lubbock, Texas.
Well, the biggest problem for Texas Tech, their last 10 ball games, they have not won the turnover battle. Right now with 14 points for Arkansas off of 2 Texas Tech turnovers, it seems to be the problem for Texas Tech.
And amazingly, their record was 5-5 in those 10 games, even though they never won the turnover battle. That's almost impossible.
Yeah. Well, when you have an offense like this, you can
cover up a few things.
Yeah, they've been close to covering them up today, but they need to get Davis Webb settled down at quarterback. They've got the run game going nicely for Texas Tech. They've got to get Webb looking at more of the field. Take your eyes off your primary guy, bring it back to it late.
Now all Arkansas is interested in is running out the clock. Brandon Allen will sneak it. And both teams willing to take this to the locker room and talk it over. A mistake-prone first half by both offenses. When they weren't making mistakes, though, they were scoring touchdowns, and it's 28-21. And here's Janine.
Coach, this game has been so up and down, back and forth, a chess match. Describe for us what it's been like to coach this battle of wits, battle of wills, whatever you want to call it.
Well, it's not much chess. It's just match mouth football. It's the way we like to play. I think our guys are executing the plan. Defensively, we got to come up with some of those balls in our hands and try to create some. You saw what we did with the 1 turnover. So excited to play a 4th quarter game.
What do you want to adjust the most here for the second half?
Well, I think our offense is doing a nice job moving the football. Don't need to get cute. We'll just put a hat on a hat and move it down the field. Again, defensively, we just got to be opportunistic and take advantage of those shots we get.
Okay, Coach, thanks a lot.
Don't need to get cute. An obvious reference to that fumble when they had a chance to go in, and the turnover cost them a touchdown. At the half, our score, Arkansas 28, Texas Tech 21. When we come back, John Saunders and company will be by with the Cooper Tire halftime report after this message and a word from our ABC station. In Lubbock, Texas, where Arkansas has the lead over the Red Raiders of Texas Tech, 28-21. Turnover's a big part of this first half, and it really looks like Arkansas has established exactly what it wants to do. And you got to favor them, I think, going into the second half.
And I think Brett Bielema told Janine Edwards on the way in what they were going to do. He said no more fooling around. They tried the flea flicker down on the goal line. They ended up with a turnover. So I would suspect with Arkansas getting the ball back, we're going to see Bielema the ball. They're just going to run it downhill with their 4 good running backs and see what happens.
If you're Texas Tech, you can't just keep making mistakes.
No, Davis Webb has to come off his receivers a bit. He has to start moving his eyes around the field. Doesn't have to necessarily read the whole field. but he needs to get his eyes off of people. And this is Texas Tech offense that has been able to run the ball as well. So I've got to think that Texas Tech, if Cliff Kingsbury could get that run game going a bit like they had in that first half, they may rely on that as well.
The other fundamental mistakes that they made include 3 15-yard penalties against the defense for personal fouls. Just huge yardage.
A lot of that, the youth on the edge for Texas Tech defensively, not doing a good enough job when they come up to support the run, being out of position, having to reach up and have grabbed a couple of space passes.
And that kickoff will go out of the end zone. Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary, Ed, from the first half.
Well, both teams deciding to kind of throw it around. Here was that reverse that ended up as a fumble down near the goal line when Arkansas looked like they were going to walk in, and then Davis Webb just stays on his receiver the whole time. The linebacker Spate comes up with the interception, and this is what I suspect we're going to see more of in the second half. Just straight ahead, some on-edge running, up the middle, toss to the outside. Allen's good enough to throw it, of course, but the way Arkansas has been running it, why not just do that over and over?
Arkansas looks to throw on first down and throws complete to Demetrius Wilson. Wilson fighting for extra yards, has a first down as we check in with Janine.
Well, Mike, exactly as you and Ed were just saying, Texas Tech's quarterback Davis Webb needs to calm down, go through his reads, and see his open guys. That's what Cliff Kingsbury just told me. He just hasn't been seeing the field, and it's especially frustrating for Kingsbury, who chewed out his offense on Thursday's practice for a lack of sense of urgency, lack of focus, and sloppiness. And Davis Webb told me afterwards that they were going to have a players-only meeting with the entire offense.
They faked it to Collins, give it to Keon Hatcher on the flanker around. And he's up to the 46. I think the mistake that Webb was making at the end of the first half, his eyes were leading the defenders to exactly where he was going to throw it every single time.
And if you're playing a team that plays a ton of man coverage, usually the defenders' eyes are on the guys they're trying to cover. But Arkansas choosing to play a lot of zone, and they knew they were going to coming in where the guys can drop back and actually read the quarterback, and they've done a nice job with it.
Alex Collins starts the second half at tailback. Stutter steps. And even in a slow developing play like that, the defensive line unable to get to him, and the linebackers took 3-4 seconds, and it's a 7-yard gain.
This offensive line getting better through development in the weight room, getting deeper with the level of people that Brett Bielema and his staff are able to recruit. When you're able to sell what Bielema and his staff did at Wisconsin, you're going to get big bodies wanting to play on the offensive line for you. 8 guys drafted in the last 3 years off the offensive line of Wisconsin, and Bielema's the head coach.
Jonathan Williams back in at tailback. He gets the toss, breaks a tackle, but coming up from the corner was Kenny Williams and messed up the timing of that play. And this is a remarkable list, especially 2011, 2012, and 2013. How can you have that many guys who have NFL talent?
My math was off. It's 7 guys. I said 8, but still incredibly impressive. 7 guys. Of course, Joe Thomas was a first-rounder. Travis Frederick having a nice NFL career so far. But these are top-level guys. And when you go out on the recruiting trail in Arkansas, that is something you can sell, and they are selling it.
Williams dragging a tackler with him down to the 40-yard line. J.J. Gaines, the safety, got a free ride from the 223-pound tailback.
And you think about last year when Arkansas was going through that losing stretch, the entire culture needed to be changed. And of course, Bobby Petrino was fired before 2 seasons ago. They brought in John L. Smith, which turned out to be a disaster in 2012. So it's going to take a little while to change the culture of what Bobby Petrino had built here. More of a passing offense, but it's starting to happen.
The crowd trying to exhort the Texas Tech defense ahead on 3rd and 2. And they give it straight ahead to Alex Collins. He does not get the first down. That'll leave him 4th and about a yard. And this is in that no man's land territory at the 39. If you punt, you don't pick up that much.
Well, you have to go for it here if you're Arkansas. But if you knew that, maybe you call something a little more aggressive on third down. And now this is something I'd want to get on the edge. I would not necessarily run between the tackles. Matt Wallerstedt, the defensive coordinator, knows that he is really young on his corners. The safeties have had hard times coming up the field. Maybe this is a toss play for Arkansas.
It's a run formation, no wide receivers. Williams, the big tailback. Powers off the right side, first down and more. Williams stiff-arming a defender down to the 20, still on his feet, pulled out of bounds.
And we have seen this just too many times for Texas Tech, where a safety, this time it's J.J. Gaines, comes right up into the hole. Now, it would have been a first down, but Gaines drops his head. We've seen that just be time and time a tough thing for Texas Tech's secondary to come up. And these running backs, all well over 200 pounds, showing good shake for Arkansas.
Williams approaching 100 yards. He had a 100-yard effort earlier in the season, averaging 88.5. Williams again.
Texas Tech just has to get better at tackling when they have a guy free. That time, number 9, Brandon Jackson, is standing there ready to make the tackle and just doesn't make it. And we've got to build up some athleticism, some experience, but the second and third level for Matt Wallerstedt's defense just not very good right now coming up into the hole. They've had bodies there to come up and make the tackle, but Arkansas's running backs have really put the shake on Texas Tech and made a bunch of guys miss right at the line of scrimmage.
Allen under center. Alex Collins is the deep man. Collins, first man, just can't seem to get them down, even if they can get a hit on the running back. Keenan Ward, the safety, made the stop, but not before they got to the 11-yard line. The line to make the 8.
I would expect on third and short, not much different. Guys are just missing tackles. That's Brandon Jackson, 2 plays in a row, ending up on the ground instead of with the tackle. And it's big yardage for Arkansas after those missed tackles.
Collins on the toss, cuts it back, got a good block, and got a first down. Patrick Arins, when they put him in the ballgame, he has been an outstanding lead blocker as a fullback.
10 plays on the drive, 9 runs, not surprisingly, and the clock just melting. And Arkansas about to get up 2 scores on Texas Tech, who you suspect might have the weapons to come back, but they haven't shown it yet.
If you're a defender and you see Arins in the ballgame, say, oh, good, another 257-pound guy who's going to throw a block at my legs. First and goal, Williams already has a career day with 3 touchdowns, bidding for more. VJ Fehoko, the transfer from Utah, was in on that stop.
But you have got to suspect this defensive front, and I know that Texas Tech has done a good job substituting players, but those linebackers and those safeties start to get worn out as well. You've seen so many missed tackles, guys who have been in position. But this defensive front is just being dragged around this field right now.
Second and goal. Throw to the corner of the end zone, out of bounds, incomplete. Good coverage that time. And that play just sort of smelled like a pass, didn't it?
Yes. I like it. Second down and 5. Second and goal to go from the 5. Good throw down. You get a little play action. But that ball thrown a little bit late. But now on third and 5, as crazy as it sounds, you would think this is a throwdown. But I think for Arkansas, you may consider a run. They've just had their way here on this drive, running the ball.
Third drive of more than 11 plays. This one approaching number 13. Brandon Allen looks to be changing the play. And now he wants a timeout. We'll take the break with them. Arkansas bidding for more here in Lubbock. Monday Night Football is a matchup between a pair of reigning division champs, LaShawn McCoy, leads Philly's dynamic high-speed offense against two-time Pro Bowl quarterback Andrew Luck and the Colts. Monday Night Football, Eagles and Colts, 8:30. 3rd and goal here. Arkansas trying to add to its lead. Brandon Allen in the shotgun. Corliss Marshall, the running back. Blitz coming. They fake it to Marshall. Touchdown on the scramble. Brandon Allen had nowhere to go, but he kept the play alive and then saw an alley and took it. That's a heck of an effort.
The first time, remember, he looked like he was going to run and ended up throwing to Williams for the first down. This time, again, Texas Tech has the play sniffed out. And then Keenan Ward, the safety, goes to double cover the guy that Allen is running to and opens it wide open. This Tech defense has just been out of sorts since about middle of the second quarter. Just guys, it doesn't seem like they know exactly where they're going and how to line up sometimes.
This drive took almost half of the 3rd quarter.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by Chevrolet. Find new roads.
Some of the memorabilia here at Texas Tech honors Gabe Rivera, a terrific defensive lineman from the late 70s, early 80s, who's enshrined today into the Texas Tech Football Ring of Honor. He was an unbelievable player. Goes up on the Ring of Honor with guys like Donnie Anderson and E.J. Holub. And if you don't go back to the day, E.J. Holub, for a college football linebacker, was as good as it gets.
And Gabe Rivera may be as good as it gets as an interior lineman in the history of college football. He had over 300 tackles as a defensive lineman, just a tremendous athlete.
And even though we haven't seen him, we understand Zach Thomas is back this week. Talk about wonderful linebackers. Check in with Chris Cotter.
And let's go AT&T inside the headset, Mike, and Iowa State offensive coordinator Mark Mangino dialing up this Sam Richardson to E.J. Bibbs connection. Hawkeyes still lead the battle for the Cy Hawk Trophy, though, 14-10 over on ESPN.
Texas Tech with a 35-21 lead. And they have to get the offense back in gear to try to cut into this margin. Webb throws to the outside, and his receiver is just smeared by Rohan Gaines, and Reginald Davis slow to get up. Holy cow, was he hit.
Ball got there late. Webb on that, watching that side again, and just a good, clean tackle. And I think what happened there maybe was Reginald Davis's head hits the turf, because head up, eyes up, excellent form by Rohan Gaines. Did not target, did not go at the head. But I'm not so sure that Reginald Davis, unfortunately, because he came down so hard, his head didn't slap very hard on the ground. But that was a clean tackle.
Just a monster shot from the safety. Good news for Reginald Davis. He is up and able to leave the field under his own power. This is the reason he was down in the first place. What a hit. And you could see his head slam into the turf. Good, clean, hard football. Webb with plenty of time. And Webb throws complete to Grant. Jakeem Grant again across midfield into Arkansas territory. Boy, did they need that.
You think? That is the biggest play of the day. The longest play before that was 15 yards. So just in time. Took a little longer to develop that time. You need the protection to get that to go. Let's see if they go back to a little longer developing play.
DeAndre Washington is the tailback. He'll get the carry and loses a yard, maybe two. Good defense by Trey Flowers, preseason first-team all-conference at that defensive end spot. Only one play over 15 yards today for that Texas Tech offense. Webb with time, hangs in the pocket, throws underneath. DJ Polite-Bray makes the grab.
And I think for Texas Tech, you always have to think about 4 downs when you get past the 50 now, down 2 scores. So here you are at 3rd and 7. Don't necessarily have to get all 7 because you're going to leave your offense out there on 4th down.
Quentin White checks in the ball game. He wears 37. 3-man rush. Webb throws to White, trying to make people miss, and White with a chance for a first down and got past the sticks. Nice effort, Quentin White. Because when he caught that ball, he was well short of the first down.
This is just time and time again, these backfield guys for Texas Tech. We've already seen what DeAndre Washington can do. Justin Stockton, who we have not seen in a while in the ball game.
10 different receivers have caught a pass. This is Stockton, wrapped up and immediately spun down by Darius Philon. Let's go to Janine. Obviously having a technical problem with Janine's microphone. We'll get back to her. Webb on the post over the middle, too far for Grant. All right, let's try Janine again.
Hey guys, sorry, I was just talking to trainer Jeremy Bush here for Texas Tech. Reginald Davis is okay. He had the wind knocked out of him. They were checking his ribs and abdominal area, but after taking a couple of sprints up and down the sideline, he's good to go.
All right, thanks, Janine. Good to know. Big 3rd down and long here. 3-man rush. Webb with time. Floats it over the middle, and it's going to be a touchdown to Grant. What a touch pass from Davis Webb. And somehow Grant beat the middle of that defense. That was just a little wrist throw from Webb.
Good pocket work, too.
Yes, it
Stayed
was.
in there for a really long time.
And Texas Tech with a big score. They're back within a touchdown after a 79-yard drive that only took 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
We've been talking about the inside receivers for Texas Tech. They've got the bunch, and you can see, freeze it right here. Grant's just running off. You've got a guy who's leading in front of him, so a lot of times that causes confusion for the secondary. And Tevin Mitchell, who had it, literally was just on the outside. And because of the amount of time that Webb had in the pocket, Mitchell was in pretty good position. But this Grant has a little bit of a different gear, and because Mitchell was on the inside, could never catch up. Way to step up into the pocket.
Especially when you know you're going to get stuck.
Yeah, for young quarterbacks, it's so hard sometimes to just kind of blindly step up, but that's where the money is. And Grant with that speed, again, not terrible coverage by Arkansas. Tevin Mitchell was right there on the hit, but had no inside support from the safety. And Shaquem Grant slides in for a big. Think about the momentum that gets back for Texas Tech and the amount of time they were allowed to leave their defense on the sideline.
Now comes the big test. Are you going to be able to stop Wisconsin? So far, the answer to that, or Wisconsin, I keep saying Wisconsin, because it's Brett Bielema and it's his offense. They certainly look like Wisconsin. But are you going to be able to stop Arkansas? And so far, the answer is no. Hatcher and Marshall are deep. Returnable kick, Marshall, 2 yards in the end zone. Doesn't make the 20. Starting September 5th, it's TGIT. Thank God it's Thursday. That's the night for the premiere of How to Get Away with Murder, starring Viola Davis. Thursday, September 25th, after the season premiere of Scandal on ABC.
You think cotton is a big deal in this part of the world?
Oh, yeah.
Right down the street from the stadium. And Davis Webb needed a drive like that. That was a really tough end of the first half. His eyes started betraying him, actually leading the defense to the ball quite frequently, and that time seemed to hang in the pocket a little better, wait for things to develop a little more, and they're able to get the ball down the field deeper in the pass game than they did in the first half.
Back to the ground where they have made their money this afternoon. Jonathan Williams.
Well, we mentioned right at the top of the broadcast the contrasting styles between Arkansas and Texas Tech, and there you can see it completely flipped on its head.
Williams over the 100-yard mark at 107 on 16 carries. And it is just a relentless drive for Arkansas. Hunter Henry moves early.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense, number 84. 5-yard penalty. It remains first down.
One of the few Arkansas mistakes.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, earlier in the game, they had a holding on a first down that made it 1st and 20, and they were able to pick up that. So let's see what happens on 1st and 15. And for Texas Tech defensively, we have not seen from Matt Wallerstedt, the defensive coordinator, many blitzes on downs you don't expect it. And because they haven't been able to do much, maybe you can start dialing something up against 1st and 15, bring a little pressure, maybe get a lost running down.
On 1st and 15, the draw to Williams. Able to get outside and make guys miss again, and picks up 6-7 yards.
The amount of missed tackles right around the line of scrimmage for Texas Tech is astonishing. I don't know that I've seen, that time it was Keenan Ward, I don't know that I've seen this many times in a game where a defender comes up, has his assignment, is in the place to make the tackle, and just gets completely left at the line of scrimmage. It's happened time and time again for the Red Raiders this afternoon.
The first guy, even the second guy, have consistently missed. Texas Tech shows blitz. Williams runs through it, runs over one man, drags two more for a first down, out it to 40. Now that is a man. Let's go to Janine.
Well, Mike, just as you and Ed were saying, Matt Wallerstedt for Texas Tech has been just trying to figure out the best combination of guys. He's been sitting them down and basically asking them all, what are you seeing and are you understanding what you're seeing? And the coaches on the sideline still having to coach guys up because they have not been in the right positions, and obviously they have been having trouble holding tackles.
Janine, you can draw up all the defensive schemes and teach all the techniques you want, but if guys can't make the tackle, it doesn't make any difference. Let's check in with Chris Cotter.
All right, Sean, Michigan, it has been tough for them in the big house today against Miami of Ohio, but here's Devin Gardner. Finds Jake Butt, 29 yards, wide open for the score. It's 24-10 right now, Wolverines on top late in the third.
Spot the ball at the 46 of Arkansas. Second down, call it 4. Alex Collins checks in. He'll get the carry, and he'll get the first down. The middle of that defense has really been vulnerable.
The first drive of this half took almost half of the third quarter.
Yes.
I think we're going to get well into the fourth quarter before this
looks like
it. Texas Tech, they brought in a bunch of new personnel. They lost 6 defensive linemen off of last year's team. They had a transfer. They had to remove a guy from the team. 4 guys graduated. They are so inexperienced up front. It's not like they're getting blown off the ball. It's not like they are getting pushed around. They just cannot make the tackle when they're in position.
This is just punishment. Alex Collins driving straight forward again.
New bodies coming in. Anthony Smith, 330-pound defensive tackle, rotates in for Texas Tech. But these guys just look like they're done. Unfortunately, that's Marcus Smith, one of the junior college transfers. Looks like he's a little gimpy.
2nd down and 3. They're not even leaving themselves in a stressful situation. 2nd and short, maybe 3rd and short at worst. Williams, 1st down. Clock down to 1:31. Or check at 33. They stop it temporarily. And now we've got an injury. It looked like Denver Kirkland, the right guard, is down for Arkansas. Had somebody I talked to on the radio earlier this week, and they said, can this offense work in the Southeastern Conference? So, well, of course it can work in the you can work in any conference. It is a sound scheme, and if you can run the ball like this and control the clock and have a good defense, why wouldn't it work on any conference on earth?
I think it'll work going forward. What I'll be interested to see, and Arkansas is light years ahead of where they were last year. I put in watching the film of that Auburn game earlier in the year. And the game got away a little bit in the second half, but that was Nick Marshall just being a magician. But if you talk about the SEC and this run game, what I'll be interested to see for Arkansas is they've had a lot of missed tackles today that have led to big runs. When they go up against an SEC defense that has a 2nd and 3rd level linebackers and secondary that are physically better and more prepared for the college game, let's say, than Texas Tech. Texas Tech just very young. Let's see how many extra yards they get making guys miss. But I agree, as this offense goes forward, yeah, this it's going to be fine in the SEC, especially if they keep getting NFL level offensive line.
Oh yeah. Williams spins out of a tackle, picks up another 6.
How frustrating for Cliff Kingsbury, former quarterback, has the hurry-up offense, and all he can do is sit on the sideline and see his defense giving up 3, 4, 5, 6 yards a run.
You can't hurry up if you're playing defense, can you?
No. You know, this is a matchup of old SWC teams. Kind of looks that way right now, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Williams picking his way this time. He's going to have another 1st down near the 25-yard line. 20 runs and 2 passes for Arkansas in this half. Yikes.
And unfortunately for Arkansas, they're going to have to snap it before we get into the 4th quarter. But for Matt Wallerstadt, the former All-American linebacker at Kansas State, was at Texas A&M with Cliff Kingsbury 2 years ago, came with him as defense coordinator. This is one of those nightmare afternoons. Has had some guys in position, but not sure he has the experience or athletic ability quite yet to play against a team like this.
Collins checks in to give Williams a break, and Collins weaves his way through and then shows some power and very close to another 1st down, as Arkansas has used most of the 3rd quarter to just pound and ground Texas Tech's defense. They're up by 7. They're closing in on more. Arkansas has rushed for 5 scores on the ground. We'll be back with the 4th quarter after this message and a word from our ABC station. Starting the 4th quarter here at Texas Tech. Arkansas leads by 7, but the Hogs are driving. Second and short. Collins down to the 8. Before that play, the last 11 plays, all runs. 5, 10, 7, 10, 6, 6, 8, 4, 6, 4, 9, and another 9.
and running backs not being touched until 3, 4, 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage is not going to be helpful.
And for the fourth time today, a withering 11-play drive at least. We got 200-yard backs as Collins has just hit 100. And the cheer goes up from the Texas Tech rooting section as Levy makes a tackle for a gain of only a couple.
Such a helpless feeling for the defense, for the fans, for the coaches.
Because there isn't a single thing you can do.
And you're only down 7. You're still in the ball game, but there's just nothing that Matt Wallerstedt and his defense can do.
Williams is back in to the 5, to the goal line. Touchdown. Patrick Arends again. The lead fullback, number 40, has earned his scholarship today with some big blocks. 4 rushing touchdowns for Jonathan Williams, and this is a clinic on how to run Brett Bielema's offense.
A little tougher for them, though, going forward as they slip into SEC West play.
Well, they play the toughest schedule in the country. I mean, this is murderer's row that they're facing. Williams has 4 on the ground, 2 others from his teammates, and the lead is back to 14 with 13:59 left from Lubbock, Texas.
ESPN is your home of the new college football playoff.
College football playoff for the first time. Williams getting that hamstring worked on a little bit. And look at the time of possession, particularly in the second half. 13:46 to 2:15. Arkansas's rushed for 150 yards in the second half. College football on ABC will continue tonight. Butch Jones in Tennessee on the road against Trevor Knight, number 4 Oklahoma. Saturday Night Football presented by Wells Fargo, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC.
I think we'll learn a lot about Oklahoma tonight. I'm not sure if they're not just a touch overrated. I'm not sure that Butch Jones has put together a team that can beat them on the road yet, but we saw Butch Jones and his squad last year. Very impressive coach, had a good recruiting class, and one of the really bright young minds in this game. I'm not sure they're ready to win that game tonight, but I think Tennessee in the East in the next 4 to 5 years will start to become a factor.
Now Texas Tech, just to have a chance, has to answer and get back within 7 and then hope that somehow, some way, they can stop the Razorbacks. Jakeem Grant underneath.
And the one thing, it's a 2-possession game, so let's see how quickly Texas Tech can go.
This time to Bradley Marquez, who was hurt earlier. He got a first down and got out of bounds. No, it's short of the first down. I'm sorry.
Still need to go fast. A few years ago, they changed the rule where when a runner goes out of bounds, they only stop the clock until they replace it when there's more than 2 minutes left in the half or the game. So clock melted even more.
Webb on short yardage, gives on the draw play to Quentin White, and Quentin White dancing through the middle of the Arkansas defense for a first down out near the 45-yard line. Now they're really in hurry-up mode. Grant, Jakeem Grant into Arkansas territory and inside the 40-yard line.
Grant lined up as a tailback, obviously wanting this young man with the ball in his hands, gets to the edge. And now Texas Tech on the positive side of the field. They've got to think about maybe trying to get one. Now, I think this is going to be a big mistake on Texas Tech. They went to the line of scrimmage with 12.
Offense, number 56, 5-yard penalty. It remains 3rd down.
Check that. They got Alfredo Morales within what they call a non-competition foul, and this is something that's really been hurting Cliff Kingsbury's squad.
First down.
So it's 1st and 15. They had those big personal foul penalties in the first half that hurt them dearly. Four-man rush. Webb stands in and has the ball knocked down by D.J. Dean as he reached around Reginald Davis, and the crowd thought he had an arm on his back too early. 2 against 2. So 2nd and 15 on a critical drive for Texas Tech. Webb going to have to eat it back at the 44-yard line on what looked like a busted play.
I'm not sure. Well, maybe it was a quarterback draw, but there's a look back at D.J. Dean. I don't think that was pass interference. You're allowed to have that trail hand on there as long as you don't change it, and I think Dean did a nice job. But a little booze came out on what was a quarterback draw. It's 2nd and long. Webb obviously not the fastest guy on the field. I think I agree with the Boo Birds on that call.
They've got to get 3rd and 15 right, so they use a timeout.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by Pacific Life. For insurance, annuities, and investments, choose Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed. And the agile, all-new Audi Q3. Stray the course.
Much to our shock, there are barbecue joints in Texas. This is Tom and Bingo's Hickory Barbecue on 34th Street. Boy, doesn't that look good.
That's the Pac-Man technique of putting meat on the sandwich. Big down here. You don't have to think of all 15. You're obviously going to go for it on 4th down. Need a 7 or 8 yard route.
4-man rush. Webb will throw underneath and just floated that pass out there. Really needed to have something on it. He let Brooks Ellis close on his receiver, and they're going to send on the punting unit. And I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. That ball just took forever to get there. Give Darius Philon a helmet sticker for the pressure he got with a 4-man rush, but I think you punt this away, and I think you're kind of guaranteeing a loss here for Texas Tech. I don't know why you wouldn't go for it here.
I mean, what are the odds that Arkansas is going to mount a sustained drive on the ground after this?
About 100%. And you're already down 2 scores. This to me is, well, I'm just not sure you punt it away.
High short kick. They'll down it inside the 15-yard line. The all-new chase begins in Chicago. Jimmy Johnson looks to defend his titles. It's the Challenger round. 16 nations battle. That's what they're calling them now. 12 advance in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Support your nation with hashtag MyChaseNation. AFibStory.com 400 at Chicago. Tomorrow afternoon, 1 Eastern on ESPN, as well as live on Watch ESPN.
I'll tell you a nation that has to be pretty happy right now is Hog Nation. The Arkansas fans, after what they have been through the last few years with just the embarrassing 2 years at the end of the Bobby Petrino era.
I mean, how could you have much more of a disaster with what happened with Bobby Petrino?
And John L. Smith.
And then John L. Smith comes in, and that was a soap opera that was just so embarrassing. But now you've got a guy who's, you know, as solid as the day is long, who knows how to build a program. He proved that. He came from Wisconsin where he was in 3 straight Rose Bowls, so he's got a pretty darn good track record.
And you can see it. The coaches always say film doesn't lie. When I was studying Arkansas this week, especially in that Auburn game, they were toe-to-toe. They can match up physically now in their league, or they're getting much closer.
Alex Collins on the draw, breaks through tacklers, and he's off to the races. 30, 20, 10, slows up, and got the touchdown anyway. Well, it wasn't a sustained drive, but it counts anyway. And what a run by Alex Collins. This is what they have done the entire ball game, particularly the second half. Run up the middle and just pick their way for extra yards. Then he broke through the last line of defense.
A lot of delays for Arkansas, which is really hard for an offensive lineman. The longer it takes for that play to develop, the longer you have to hold your blocks. And now a lineman for Arkansas down getting ready for the PAT. But luckily for Alex Collins, he was able to clear the goal line before Justice Nelson. Good hustle here.
Yes, it was.
Wow, that's much closer. It's a touchdown. He was across the line, but what a good lesson for any young player. Finish through the goal line. Get the ball across the goal line. As Collins was slowing down there.
How embarrassed would Alex Collins have been? This is pretty good. 54 carries, 387 yards. These are numbers that passers put up, not running backs. 4 drives with at least 10 rushes, 20 first downs on the ground, and 7 rushing touchdowns. He comes as advertised. This is no surprise to anybody. And it's not the first time he's been around hogs. He grew up on a hog farm. What a performance by Arkansas. And they cap it with their biggest run of the day to go up by 21.
ESPN is your home of the new college football playoff.
Back in Lubbock, where it's 49-21, Arkansas has broken it open, and Sam Irwin Hill will kick off. Grant and Stockton deep to receive. And Texas Tech is going to need all the speed and all the miracles they can conjure to come back in this game. Let's take a look at this week's AP rankings, brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. And Florida State Idol still maintains the #1 spot. Oregon with a big win today. Alabama plays at 6 Eastern. Georgia's trailing at South Carolina 21-13. And Baylor with an easy win against Buffalo the other night. Not too many challenges outside of the couple that are underway. Webb sets up the screen. Washington taken down by Martrell Spate, who leads his team in tackles.
Spate becoming a very physical presence for Arkansas. They have really shown a lot of improvement over last year.
Draw to Washington. Running room. 40 still on his feet. Arkansas the last couple of series not particularly sharp in the tackling department either.
Well, they've been watching Texas Tech a little too much, I think. But Texas Tech has a lot to build on. I know this is a frustrating day for them, and defensively they have a long way to go, but luckily they don't play a lot of teams in their league that look like, I was going to say Wisconsin like you, Mike, like Arkansas. It is, you know, when Arkansas came out for warm-ups in the whites, and it really is amazing.
Really?
You look at Brett Bielema, and there's so much history with him at Wisconsin that it is hard to make that adjustment.
If they were wearing solid red jerseys, I think we'd have said it about 50 times.
Yeah, it's a hard transition, but you start to understand the decision he made.
Webb has that one tipped in the air and nearly picked. Brooks Ellis, who's had a really good game as the middle linebacker, got his hands on that one.
But Bielema, it was really shocking when he took this job in December of 2012 after leading Wisconsin to bowl games in all 7 years, including those last 3 Roses that you said, but looking for a new professional challenge, was having a hard time keeping assistant coaches because he didn't have the salary pool that he thought he needed.
There's a flag down as Quentin White has his legs cut out from under him near midfield.
Holding offense number 62. The penalty is 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat, third down.
And as bad as things look for Jeff Long, who I think did a really nice job with the Bobby Petrino situation, got rid of Petrino right away, but Jeff Long has to be happy with what he's seen in the progress for Arkansas. And, of course, a lot of eyes on Long. He's the chairman of the selection committee for the first year in the college football playoff, so everything Long does will be nitpicked, but he has to be very happy with the progress that he is seeing from this squad from last year to this year.
And really, the fans at Arkansas being very patient with Brett Bielema because they know what, with consecutive disasters, what that's done to their program, and they're giving him some time to rebuild. And obviously, what he's doing is showing. Now it's 4th and 3, and Texas Tech will go for it out of necessity. Webb with time. He'll go deep down the sideline, underthrown and intercepted. Picked off by Andre Tolliver.
Well, you're starting to see the recruiting paying off for Brett Bielema. Tolliver, a true freshman who's starting to get more playing time. He's earning a right onto the field, but Davis Webb has just had a really tough day. Stays on his receivers for a long time, and 4th and 3 decides to throw it up when all you need is 3 yards for the first down. But Davis Webb has a long way to go, and for Texas Tech, it was a really strange offseason in the quarterback department. Baker Mayfield, who started the first 5 games last year in their 5-0 start, hurt his knee, then got into a battle with Davis Webb going into the bowl game to see who would start. Mayfield decided to quit before the bowl game, transferred to Oklahoma, and then Michael Brewer, who also played a bit last year, decided in the offseason to transfer to Virginia Tech. So now Cliff Kingsbury left with only one veteran quarterback on this entire roster, Davis Webb. Behind that is Patrick Mahomes, a true freshman, and Vincent Testaverde Jr., Vinny's son, who is also a true freshman. So the cupboard's not exactly full for Cliff Kingsbury because of those 2 transfers during the offseason.
And Wisconsin coming out with Alex Collins as the tailback, and their job. Did I say Wisconsin again? Arkansas comes out with Alex Collins at tailback. Runs through an arm tackle, takes it up to the 25-yard line, and we'll go to Janine.
Well, guys, you know, when the Razorbacks were in the midst of that record-setting 10-game losing streak, the coaches described the psyche of their team and their quarterback, Brandon Allen, as, quote, fragile. Well, Brandon Allen told me he was most proud of the fact that despite that, they never lost confidence. They felt as if in every game that they had a chance to win. Well, he said now they are light years from where they were at the end of last season. He said they see the baby steps they've taken and how far they've grown. And you know what, guys? I think everybody else is seeing it now, too.
And what a struggle it was for him, Janine, last year, because he had a bad shoulder the last 8 games of the season and had to take pain-killing injections before every game. And that's something fans don't necessarily understand, and he wouldn't play well and because he didn't have a good surrounding cast around him, for one thing, and he'd be booed by the fans. And here's this kid who's taking shots every week in his shoulder just to get on the field.
And not able to practice.
Exactly.
I mean, imagine a new offense, a completely different offense than what you ran under Bobby Petrino and John L. Smith. Plus the turnover of the coaches, the confusion of what's going on for these young men. Give a lot of credit to the young men who've stuck around this program, are really showing great improvement. Not sure they're going to factor into the championship in the SEC West this year, but don't be surprised if they make some noise and have something to say about who plays for the SEC championship before it's over.
Here's what Arkansas has to look forward to. Number 7, Texas A&M. Number 3, Alabama. Number 6, Georgia. Then skip 2 games. Number 10, LSU. Number 14, Ole Miss. Number 20, Missouri. Thank you so much.
And Mississippi State right outside the top 25. And, oh, by the way, Northern Illinois a favorite to win their conference this year. So this is, when I saw their schedule, I was shocked at how hard it is. Clearly the hardest schedule in the country. So they'll get better in the wins department because they're just so much better than they were last year. But if this team gets to 7-5 or even 8-4, if you're an Arkansas fan, you should do backflips after what they went through the last few seasons. And frankly, it's just this guy's spirit. You know, when you talk to Brett Bielema, he's the type of guy that I would have wanted to go play for. he speaks his mind. He's not afraid to go out on a limb and say some things, challenge some other programs, but he backs it up. They work hard. They've worked hard on their communication with their players this offseason. It's been impressive to see the growth from last year to this year in the program.
You know, look at that schedule. I was looking to see if the Seattle Seahawks were on there, but the only thing that was missing. And again, able to pick their way right through the middle of that defense. And it's not like it's a straight ahead burst. A couple of steps to the side, a couple of steps back the other way. And there's still running room after they make those moves straight up the middle.
Well, last week against FCS opponent Nicholls State, it was a bit of a laugher. But you look at the yards per play and the yards per rush today. Again, this isn't an SEC-level defense that they're going to face, but not bad players for Texas Tech. They've had some guys in position, but this running game, the runners for Arkansas and the runners for Texas Tech today, frankly, have all run really well.
And the new tailback, Cody Walker, gets the carry. And, of course, this is what Brett Bielema did at Wisconsin. This was his calling card to football. He played under Hayden Fry, was hired by Barry Alvarez, and Barry Alvarez told him, you're not going to find many great running backs in Wisconsin, but you can find 5 big eaters to play on that offensive line, and he found them every year.
He's found enough runners, too. Monte Ball was pretty good.
Yes, sir.
Melvin Gordon, who was recruited by Bielema's staff. If you have not seen Melvin Gordon play this year, please check him out. In my opinion, Melvin Gordon is the best running back in the country at Wisconsin. And we saw Todd Gurley last year from Georgia. We saw Melvin Gordon. We saw DeAnthony Thomas at Oregon last year. But he found some runners, but boy, did he find some linemen.
But his point was you don't necessarily get these guys out of Wisconsin. You got to go somewhere else to get them. But you can find left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, and right tackle, and you can find them in quantity.
And they're starting to find them. Of course, you can find those in the southeastern part of our country as well. And they are starting to find them here at Arkansas, starting to build some depth, development off the field, recruiting better talent. It's going to be a good front for years to come. 2nd
and 6, and it is just another brutal drive against this Tech defense. Tomorrow, get your NFL Sunday started on ESPN at 10 a.m. Eastern. Chris Berman and company will be by for Sunday NFL Countdown presented by Snickers. And before you set your lineups, catch Fantasy Football Now presented by Papa John's at 11 a.m. on ESPN2. Both also available live on Watch ESPN.
Had the NFL season started? I didn't notice that.
You missed that?
Yeah. Not enough promos and on TV about the start of the season.
I'm going to say, you really haven't been paying attention. 3rd down, call it 5. And they'll come up short this time in a wry cheer from the Texas Tech crowd, at least the ones that are remaining.
Well, but that's not a defensive stop because now Arkansas is going to go for it on 4th down. No reason to punt here. Clock's melting. You're on the plus side of the field. What confidence for Arkansas, though. They get and now you get a game. The nice part for the Arkansas coaching staff is the next game against Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois is good enough that you have to be focused. It's not like a giveaway game, so they'll be able to build off of this and go into another competitive game right away.
Cody Walker, a fullback, playing tailback. We'll get it on the delay. Walker stops short. But look at the second effort. Got it down to the 29-yard line, and that is another 1st down. Boy, oh boy.
Because of the three timeouts by Texas Tech, not quite able to run it out. And there's some Arkansas fans who made the trip. Not sure Texas Tech's going to use any more of those 3 timeouts, so this ball game looks like it's in the books. And a frustrating afternoon it has to be for Cliff Kingsbury. They had a little bit of momentum there in the first half.
They did.
They started to get the ball to some of their really good playmakers. And Arkansas is going to be able to run it out because Texas Tech won't take its time out.
Nice move here, just taking a knee, not trying to gain any more yards, not trying to get any more points. This is our good hands play brought to you by Allstate. Excellent defense against Webb, and good hands by the defense guys, getting their hands up, knocking down a lot of balls.
And this has got to feel good. Texas Tech with their throw game, if you're an Arkansas fan, as bad as they were in the secondary at times last year, to see them come out and get that many hands on balls and play as well as they did in the secondary has to feel pretty good.
The other thing this ground game did for Arkansas, they used up so much of the clock that Texas Tech has only had the ball 3 times in the second half. So just about everything went right for the Hogs in the second half, and they earned that.
Sure did. And Brett Bielema has been an outspoken advocate of trying to slow down offenses in the game. Probably went a little far with his comments during the offseason, but one way that you can take the number of plays away for an offense is run the ball the way they did today.
That'll do it. We'll count it down to 0-0. The first win for Brett Bielema and Arkansas over a Power 5 conference team since 2012. That's how much they've been down, and they are coming back. We will take a break and come back and wrap it up from Lubbock, Texas. Arkansas winner here, 49-28, and we'll check in with Janine Edwards.
Brett, congratulations. A huge win. What does this moment right now say about how far your program has come since last season?
Well, we kind of take things one day at a time, keep it simple. Thought our guys really came in with a great game plan. A lot of the coaches good credit. Our players believed in what we do, and we took a little bit of a transformation. We took over how we do things, so just get used to it. That's how we're going to win games. This especially for all the old Hog fans. I know this is a game that they used to play every year, and obviously a special victory for them.
Why were you guys able to impose your will on them offensively? 438 yards on the ground. What made that work?
Well, it's about what we do every day. You know, our DNA is made up in a way that we enjoy the physicality of it. We prepare for this day 365 days a year. Sometimes it isn't all that pretty, but it sure is a lot of fun.
What are you most proud of right now?
I'm proud of our guys. You know, they took a lot of shots over the last year, you know, and been through a lot, but this is just the beginning, man. I can't wait. We got an excellent team coming in. Northern Illinois going to be riding, flying sky high, and excited about the opportunity to come back home.
Congratulations.
Thank
Job well done. Thank you. Mike?
All right, thank you, Janine. Final thoughts.
This looks like Arkansas is going to be back very quickly. Not sure if it's this year, but it's going to be soon.
All right, the final 49-28 for Ed Cunningham and Janine Edwards and our entire crew. This is Mike Patrick. Thanks for watching, everybody. Now we'll send you to John Saunders in the studio.